Hello, this is Gair and Karunatillake, lesson 2, reading 3, on page 15. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye manuse supacchajayanti. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye anyatra manusehi pacchajayanti. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye majhimesu janapadesu pacchajayanti. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye pachantimesu janapadesu pacchajayanti. Now to the first word of the first line in that reading 3, we know the word evam, meaning thus. As in many suttas begin, evam maya sutam, thus by me heard, meaning thus have I heard. Eva is an emphatic particle, not just thus, but exactly in that way, exactly so, in just the same way, and double emphasized. So, evam eva ko, in exactly that same way, is what it, thus eva ko, in exactly that same way, exactly thus. So, evam eva ko bhikkhave, in exactly that same way, O monks. Appaka te satta. Few are those beings. The equational are is are can be left out in a phrase like this. Appaka te satta. Few are those satta beings. Ye manusesu pacchajayanti. Ye who manusesu among humankind, among men, pacchajayanti, are reborn. We've had manusa, meaning man or mankind, or a man, in the sense of a person. It's not gender related. Manusesu means among men, among mankind, among people. That's the locative plural. The locative just doesn't necessarily just mean in, it means among. Manusesu pacchajayanti, they are reborn among men, that is, in the human realm. Pacchajayanti is Sanskrit prati ajayanti. In fact, Sanskrit ajayante, don't worry about that, which become in Pali by standard phonetic mutation. The tia in Sanskrit becomes tia, automatically becomes tia, which in Pali becomes pacha. So pratya, pratya, pacha, jayant. Jayante is from the root jan. In Sanskrit, it would be, it's a fourth class, so it would be janyate, regular, but instead of being, just put an asterisk to show this form doesn't exist. Janyate, wrong, that does not exist. It slightly irregularly becomes jayate. And in Pali, you got the E instead. Okay, so that's the same root from jan, jayati, jan, meaning to give birth or to be born. It's cognate with the with generation, genesis, genus. It's that same root. The prefix prati, which in Pali is pati, sometimes a pati, is the same pati as in paticca, praticca, samupada, dependent origination. The idea is corresponding against, not against in a hostile sense, but against, corresponding to, counterbalancing, countervailing, in respect of. It's just a relational particle, a relational prefix. And we'll see it a little further down in Patibala, which very well explains the sense of that prefix. Pachajayanti, like born back, in other words, reborn. So, apakate sata, few those beings, few are those beings. We can leave out the R's, I said. Apakate sata, few of those beings, ye manusesu pachajayanti, who among men are reborn. Atako, ata means here. In this kind of context, it means in this respect, or on the same topic. Atta, there's more than one. You can say atta, you can also say atra. Atra is more literary and Sanskritic. We'll see it a little bit below. Attako, here, literally here, but it means in this respect, however, but, look here, attako, here, and the ko is that same ko that we had as in evameva ko. It's just an emphatic particle or a fill-in particle. For those who know Greek, it's cognate with the Greek gar, which is just a fill-in particle, a sentence balancing. It doesn't actually alter the meaning. So atako, here, however, in this respect, sata bahutara. Bahu is many. Bahutara, many are, meaning more. So sata bahutara. Eteva, the eteva, the ete eva. Ignore the va for the moment again, that's another emphatic particle. Ete sata, these beings, bahutara, are more. In other words, there are few beings who are born among men, and on this point, there are more beings, eteva sata bahutara, those beings are more, ye anyatra manusehi pachajayanti. Anyatra. This ending tra is indicating place. Kutra or kuta. Kutra is where. Tatra, there. Tatra. Anya means other or else. Anyatra, otherwhere, elsewhere, not in the same place. So anyatra, otherwhere. Followed here by an ablative. Anyatra manusehi means elsewhere than among humans. So not among humans, elsewhere than among humans. Atako eteva sata bahutara. On this point, note, atako eteva sata bahutara. Those beings are more, or more numerous. Ye anyatra manusehi, who otherwise than among humans, pachajayanti, who are born otherwise than among humans. Evameva ko bhikkhave. And in exactly the same way, O monks. Appaka te sata, few are those beings. Ye majhimesu janapadesu pachajayanti. So appaka te sata, few are those beings. Ye majhimesu janapadesu pachajayanti, who are reborn, Majhimesu Janapadesu. Majhimesu, middle. We have the word as in the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle sayings, meaning the middle length sayings. And Janapada, Jana, the same root as Jan, to be born, Jayati, generations, or just people generally. Janapadesu, the people places in the Dhammapada. We've got the Machuno Padam, the abode, the place of death, and the Amatapadam, the Pada, the place, the abode, the realm of the immortal. So Janapadesu just means places where people live, a locality. And the middle localities, I think he's comparing it with those born at the center of civilization and a little further out, not quite at the center. And then we've got the furthest out, the Pachantimesu, in the next line. What he's exactly getting at here, I have to say, I'm not absolutely sure. Hopefully I'll know more soon. So few are those beings who are born in the middle places, in the middle areas, in the middle localities. Attako eteva sata bahutara ye pachantimesu janapadesu pachajayanti. Attako, and here eteva sata bahutara, those beings are bahutara, more numerous. Ye pachantimesu janapadesu pachajayanti, who are born in the outlying areas. The comparison here is to be the idea, underlying idea seems to be if you're born right at the center in a city, you're very lucky. Born on the outskirts, less lucky. And born in the extreme outskirts, or out in the countryside, on the fringes of life, less lucky still. Looking at this word pachantima, it's this pati again, up against, next to. Okay, the word anta literally it's cognate with our English word end. And it can mean a boundary or a border as well. It can mean an extreme. When the Buddha was first propounding his basic doctrine of the middle way, he says, these two antas, ime due ante nasevitaba, anta rather, nasevitaba, these two antas, these two ends, meaning extremes, are not to be indulged in, not to be followed. Anta here means, in this context, means a border or a boundary, or the end, the edge of where people live. So if you're in Sanskrit, pratyanta, prati, up against, pratya becomes pratya, in Sanskrit would be pratyanta, or pratyantima. Ima is just a way of forming an adjective. So up against the end, really outlying, towards the outer borders of where people live, which then in Pali, pratyantima becomes in Pali pachantima. So we have Attako, and here eteva sata bahutara, those beings are more numerous. Ye pachantimesu janapadesu pachajayanti, who are reborn in the outlying regions, the far extreme regions. Next paragraph. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye panyavanto ajjala anelamuga patibala subhasita dubhasitassa attamanyatum attako eteva sata bahutara Ye duppanya jara elamuga napatibala subhasida dubhasitassa attamanyatum. As before, evameva ko bhikkhave, in exactly this way, in exactly the same way, O monks. Apaka te sata, few those beings, few are those beings. E panyavanto, probably already all know, panya means wisdom, and the suffix vant, which in the plural, nominative plural, is panyavanto, and before the vant, the a becomes short. So panyavanto, wisdomful, having wisdom. So few are those beings who, again, the are is omitted, who, wise, meaning are wise, who are endowed with wisdom. Ajala, Sanskrit word, jada, means, the original meaning is cold, and then by extension kind of stiff or lifeless, frozen with cold, and then by further extension, in a figurative manner, stiff and lifeless in your mind. In other words, dull, unintelligent. So that's jala. This is ajala, means undull, not unintelligent. That's the negating a. Anela muga. I should just go back to jada. This intervocal between two vowels, a d in Sanskrit, often becomes a l in Pali. This word, jada, jala, could be related to our English cold. In fact, it exactly means cold in its root meaning, and as I said, by extension, stiff or lifeless, and then stupid. So ajala, uncold, not stupid. Anela muga. In Sanskrit, eda, a word probably of Dravidian origin, it doesn't look like an Indo-European word. Eda, Sanskrit, ela, Pali, means a sheep. and in Sanskrit, Eda and Murka. Murka is the mouth or face as a whole. So Eda Murka, sheep-faced, is another word for saying dull or stupid. And in that transmutes to Elamuga. You call somebody a sheep face, you're calling him stupid. So few of those who are ajala, not dull, anelamuga, not sheep-faced, pratibala, subhasita dubhasita anyamanyatum. Pratibala, competent, able, up to the task. Bala, same in Sanskrit and Pali. Bala means strength. Pratibala, counter strength. In other words, you've got what it takes. You have the strength or force necessary to deal with whatever obstacle or problem is to be dealt with. So in Sanskrit, your pratibala, your counter force, you have the available force or ability to deal with what needs to be dealt with, therefore competent or able. And in Pali, it becomes pratibala. You've got the necessary strength. And here, pratibala, who are competent, just competent. This is the masculine nominative plural. Attam anyatum. We've seen before several times this atta, which means the object or goal. If something is anatta, objectless, useless, it also means profitless or brings you loss. It's anatta. In the first lesson, we had anattaya, what's it? Samvartati. It leads to loss. Atta is the place you're going, the destination of something. And in a figurative sense, it means the meaning, as in the meaning of the word. Like you're saying, what is the word getting at? What is the destination? What is it intended? What is the atta, the goal or aim of that word? So it means the meaning of it. So pratibala attam anyatum. From root jñā, which we now know very well, meaning to know, cognate with our kno, the jñā, kna. Ajñā in Sanskrit is anya. Don't be confused with the anya, meaning other. It's just coincidentally can look the same. Anya means to ajñā, not just to know, but to get it, not know it, get it, understand it. Didn't understand before, now you've got it. As when the Buddha said, Anya Kundanya, when Kundanya first got it, he said, Anya Kundanya, Kundanya got it. So attam, you'll see in the text here, it's written as one word, attam anyatum. In fact, it's two words. They could easily have separated them. Attam anyatum. The tum is the infinitive ending. So pratibala, capable of doing something. In Sanskrit Pali, you say capable to do something. So pratibala anyatum. So the tum, capable of understanding, of getting. The attam, the meaning. Meaning of what? Subhasita, dubhasita, and the genitive ending assa. Subhasita dubhasitassa. Root bhas, to speak. Cognates, I've said, with the Greek word, Latin script, he or pa, and in English, from the Greek, if you've got aphasia, it's the non-speaking, or the inability to speak, inability to get the words out properly. So that is from the same bhas, meaning to speak. Bhasita, past participle, bhasita, that which is spoken. Subhasita, well spoken, or that effectively it here means words of wisdom, that which is well said, or rightly said. The opposite dubhasita, ill-spoken, wrongly spoken. It's the same du as in dukkha, for example. Du opposite, su opposite du. Join them together, you can join them together in one word, so it becomes subhasita dubhasita, that which is well spoken, that which is ill spoken, that which is rightly spoken, that which is wrongly spoken, or good and bad speech. The assa is the genitive, subhasita dubhasitassa attam, the meaning of, or the purport of, good speech and bad speech. Here the idea is being able to discern between what is well spoken and what is badly spoken. So pratibala, able, anyatum, to get, to discern, the attam, the meaning, the purport, what it's getting at, subhasita dubhasitassa, the well-spoken and the ill-spoken. So discerning what is rightly said from what is wrongly said. Atako eteva sata bahutara. However, atako, here, look here. Eteva sata bahutara. Ete sata bahutara. Those beings are more numerous. Ye dupanya. The dupanya is the same as the du in dub, literally bad wisdomed. It can also mean kind of lacking, haven't got it. People who are of poor wisdom or lacking wisdom. Jala. In the first line of this paragraph, we had the negative form ajala, but who are jala. That's cold, mentally stiff, stupid. Elamuga, sheep-faced. Na pratibala, not having the necessary strength, not competent. Attamanyatum, last word, napatibala, not competent. Anyatum, to get, to recognize. The attam, the purport, the meaning. Subhasita dubhasitassa, of the well-spoken, ill-spoken, of that which is well-spoken and ill-spoken. Third paragraph. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye aryena panya chakkhuna samanagata attako eteva satta bahutara ye avidyagata samurlaha. So this means few are those beings who are samanagata, we can say here, who are endowed with the aryena panya chakkhuna, with the noble wisdom eye. Atako eteva sata bahutara. However, those beings are more numerous. Ye avijagata samurlaha. Avijagata. Root vid, to see. One way of forming the verbal noun is to add a ya onto it. So vidya, this is Sanskrit by the way. Vidya, vidya, the original meaning is just seeing, cognate with vision. And then it comes to mean wisdom. Vidya, panya have pretty much the same meaning. Panya has more the idea of knowing. Vidya has more the idea of seeing. And vidya, by standard phonetic mutation, becomes vidya in Pali. And by the negating a in front of it, we'll see, avijagata, we're looking at paragraph, third paragraph, second line, avidya, so unwisdom, avidya, wisdom, avidya, unwisdom, gata. Gata, the same as in tathagata, gate, gate, parangate. It means literally gone, from the root gum, makes its past participle, drops the M, becomes gata. So unwisdom gone. It's frequently used, as gata is frequently used at the end of a compound like this, meaning to be in a state of. You are unwisdom gone, literally. Unwisdom gone means you are in a state of unwisdom. Or rather, I've been saying wisdom, it's more knowledge and ignorance here. So translate avidya as ignorance, who are unseeing, that is unknowing gone, in a state of ignorance. Samulha. We have the three main defilements. You know, we've got lobha, dosa, lobha, acquisitiveness, greed, desire, dosa, hostility, enmity, ill will, and moha is delusion. Sammoha is just the same word with the prefix sam, meaning a surrounded in a state of moha, in a deluded state. And by a slight irregularity, not really an irregularity, but a complexity that we needn't bother about now, the past participle of sammoha, sammo, is in Sanskrit, in Nepali, samulha. Don't worry about why yet, we can come to that in a later lesson. So samulha basically just means deluded. How do they translate it here? Oops. How do they translate it here? Can't find it. Never mind. Anyway, not in a state of delusion. Fourth paragraph. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye labhanti tathagatam dasanaya athako eteva satta bahutara ye nalabhanti tathagatam dasanaya. Evameva ko bhikkhave, in exactly the same way, monks. Appakate satta, few are those beings. Ye labhanti, that's the third plural ending, they, who labhanti, get, obtain, tathagatam dasanaya, Dasana, Sanskrit root drish, to see. Drishti, in Sanskrit seeing. It becomes in Pali ditti, as in samadhitti, right seeing, so right view, one of the 8 factors on the Noble Eightfold Path. Drish, you can make a verbal noun out of it, darshana, in Sanskrit, which becomes dasana in Pali. Dasana simply means seeing. Ye nalabhanti, who do not get or attain to. If it means just get something, it takes an accusative. But here, if it means reach the point where, get to that point, achieve it, it can take a dative, which is what we have here. Labhanti dasanaya, they attain to, they get as far as dasanaya, the seeing. The seeing what? Seeing the Tathagata. Again, gata, this thus gone, or thus come, or gone to thusness, the Tathagata. So, to go through that paragraph again, Evameva ko bhikkhave, in exactly the same way, O monks, apakate satta, few are those beings, ye labhanti tathagatam dasanaya, who obtain or get to dasanaya, the seeing of the Tathagata. Is Tathagatam in the accusative because it's treated here as the direct object of dasana, seeing. Atako eteva satta bahutara, however, more numerous, bahutara ete satta, are those beings, ye nalabhanti, who do not get Tathagatam dasanaya, to the seeing of the Tathagata. 4th paragraph. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye labhanti tathagata paveditam dhamma vinayam savanaya attako eteva satta bahutara ye nalabhanti tathagata paveditam dhamma vinayam savanaya. Evameva ko bhikkhave, in exactly the same way, O monks, appakate satta, few are those beings, ye labhanti, who obtain, who get what? Look for something now in the dative, savanaya. It's from that same root, shru, Sanskrit root shru. I should try and remember to use a red pen if it's Sanskrit. Okay. Shru, to hear. Shravana, hearing. In Pali, savana. And that's where we get from that same root, savaka, meaning a hearer, or a listener, therefore a disciple. Anjali Karaniyo Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, worthy of homage is the Savaka Sangha, the Sangha, the community of Savakas, of the Bhagavato, of the Blessed One. So, Nalabhanti, so Apakate Satta, few of those things, Ye Labhanti, who get to the Savanaya, get to the hearing of what? The Dhamma Vinayam, the Dhamma and the Vinaya, the rules of conduct, rules of discipline, so the teaching and the discipline. Tathagata Paveditam, the Tathagata taught, Dhamma vinaya. So pavedita, I'll explain. Root vid. Put the pra in front. Talking about Sanskrit now, then go to Pali. To cause to see forth. Pravedayati, to make be seen forth. In other words, to expound, to teach, to preach. Pravedayati. The ayati, to make a past participle out of that, taught, just the ayati becomes ita. So pravedita in Pali becomes pavedita. It's the same ved and vid root, meaning to see. You're helping people to see it. Vedayati, to make to see. Pravedayati, you are speaking forth so that you can make people see. So, pavedita, that's simply translated as taught, but that's the history behind the word. Tathagata pavedita, the Buddha taught, meaning taught by the Buddha. Dhamma Vinayam. So Tathagata Pavedito Dhamma Vinayo in the nominative would be the Buddha taught Dhamma Vinaya, the Dhamma Vinaya taught by the Buddha. So at Labhanti Savanaya, they get to the hearing, so they get to hear the Tathagata Paveditam Dhamma Vinayam. The Dhamma Vinaya taught by the Tathagata. Atako eteva sata bahutara. However, those beings bahutara are more numerous. Ye nalabhanti tathagata paveditam dhamma vinayam savanaya, who do not get to hear the Dhamma Vinaya taught by the Buddha. Look at this word tathagata paveditam. I've written pavedita here with a single P. You'll see it there with a double P. I will briefly explain why. Normally, when you get a consonant cluster in Sanskrit like that, let's take here pra. Pali it doesn't do a pra, it changes it to a pa. If it wants to be a double P, but it can't if there's no vowel in front of it, because you can't start a word with a double consonant. A double consonant can only occur after a vowel. But this pa, stemming from the old Vedic pra, you can say it knows that it's meant to be double, but it can't be double if it's at the beginning of a word. If, however, it's preceded by a vowel from the previous word, now I can be doubled again, like I've always wanted to be. That is why it's not tathagata paveditam, but tathagata paveditam. The doubling comes back. It's like an atavistic memory there, that it wants to be doubled, and that the previous is just waiting for the previous vowel to be there so that it can be doubled. So what I'll do now, before winding up this video, is just to read through this third reading slowly and clearly, I hope clearly, and try and follow it. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye manussesu pacchajayanti atako eteva satta bahutara ye anyatra manussehi pacchajayanti evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye majhimesu janapadesu pacchajayanti atako eteva satta bahutara ye pachanti mesu janapadesu pachajayanti. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye panyavanto ajjala anelamuga pratibala subhasita dubhasitassa attamanyātum. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye duppanya jala elamuga napatibala subhasita dubhasitassa attamanyātum. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye aryena panya chakkuna samannagata. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye avijjagata sammulha. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye labhanti tathagatam dassanaya. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye nalabhanti tathagatam dassanaya. Evameva ko bhikkhave appakate satta ye labhanti tathagatapavedatam dhamma vinayam savanaya. Attako eteva satta bahutara ye nalabhanti tathagatapavedatam dhamma vinayam savanaya. Right, that's all on Gair and Karunatillake, lesson 2, section 3.